I have beautiful intentions, and sometimes I've noticed that my wounding will cloud my wisdom. But I'm talking about it, I'm honest about it. I'm not pretending like it's not there. But
Yeah.
I don't see that with a lot of people in the spiritual conscious media world. So, how do you create that barometer inside of you as a filmmaker?
Very good question. There are a lot of those out there who they can talk the talk really, really well. And of course, there's a level of that I can see and I can acknowledge. And what I've noticed is when I'm really being humble and honest with myself, I'm not here to call everybody out. Even when somebody's kind of just being in their way and I can see it, I think, what are the very subtle seeds I can plant? And if I can tell that if I really just challenge this person, then it'll send them into a process and then the conversation will be twice as long. And maybe I'll feel like I've learned something, but maybe I'll feel like I just triggered something and then I had to, stand witness to their reaction to it. So what kinds of seeds can I plant? What can I say that like isn't quite in opposition to them, but something that's like slightly outside of what they might have expected a yes man to say back to them? And how can I do that in a way where once and if they discover what it is that I meant, that it wasn't like, oh, Ben was right. Like maybe that would happen, but like I don't want it to happen that way. Because Inception, the movie Inception, about going inside somebody's subconscious and
Yeah.
planting a seed, it has to grow in a way that they feel like it was their idea. Because let's be honest, none of my ideas are original, right? Like I have that syncretic, integrative, artistic way of taking other people's ideas and putting them into a novel new way of being put forth, and maybe that is kind of mine. But at the end of the day, how can I don't even take credit for the films that I do, because they come through me in such a way where I'm like, I barely remember how that stream of consciousness came to me.
Yeah.
So when I see it in other people, the first thing I feel is I've been there. That's been me so many times. And how did other people respond to me? It doesn't really matter unless there's something beautiful that they handled me, how they handled me. So I feel like, what kind of seeds can I plant and just make it an enjoyable experience and then leave? And then later, maybe I didn't teach them something like, hey, listen, I have to tell you how you're wrong about all these things. I made a checklist. Let me go through it. Bam, bam, bam. See ya. No, it's like I'm not their teacher. I
Yeah.
don't force myself to be in the teacher position, I should say. If I can teach, it would be in passing and more by the way that I am rather than the things that I say. I notice that sticks with people more. I'll be in a conversation with somebody where literally they're talking 95% of the time and me 5% of the time. But if I do it in a way, then afterwards I always notice like, hey, my friend wanted to give you his number. He really enjoyed that conversation. And I can sense from that like something I did created a moment that was useful and enjoyable for them. That
Yeah.
they're like, I want more of that. I don't even know what that was, but I want more of that.
It was them being heard. It was them being seen for a moment,
Thank you. Thank you.
which is really so lacking.
Exactly. That's actually one of the most important parts of communication is actually just listening. And then that's what I love about Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication is, let me first echo back to you that I hear what you're saying. Is this right? And they'd be like, yeah, man, that's a great way to put it. Or no, here's the nuance. And I'm like, oh, thank you for clarifying. It really helps me not just go on my way without the humility being like, oh, I told them. And sometimes, again, like I said, sometimes people deserve to see what you woke up inside them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, listen, brother or sister, I really don't agree with that. And here's why. And I've felt that to be dangerous, actually. And if I can say it in such a way that I'm not attacking, but I'm like, listen, last time I used that approach or blah, 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 like, I mean, seriously, maybe there's another way that can go, but I don't see that as being the way. And usually the last time that's happened to me was when somebody said to me, and I've had so many people say this, like, oh, I don't care. I'll say anything to anyone. I'm like,
damn.
Does that automatically make it good?
Yeah,
Does that make it useful?
These are the people that say, well, it's just my truth. I'm just going to speak my truth. And it's like, that can be somewhat of a cop out, because what if you speaking your truth is actually the worst possible thing for both people to get closer to love, or closer to peace, or closer to a solution that benefits all?
Such a good point.
So quote, speaking your truth isn't always the path. We don't need brutal, radical, violent truth all the time. Like, sometimes speaking your truth is actually having the wisdom to go, okay, in this moment, I'm actually going to hold on to my truth so that I know it. I don't need to project my truth onto this person, because it doesn't serve the moment. And I think that's really the narrative that we need. And I don't know how this directly applies to awakening, but I know it's a part of it. I know it's included in it, right?
I think awakening really, like, I mean, people think of awakening like it's this awe-inspiring, blow your head off type of thing. I think the best awakening are the silent ones, the nuanced ones, like when I have these moments where I'm not teaching my daughter something, I sit and I watch her playing, and I'm just in awe of the fact that she's growing, and like, she's not mine, right? And I'm not responsible for, I'm responsible for caring for her and doing the best I can, but she's not like a product of me that, like, I'm getting out to market. No, like, she's this beautiful thing that I can't understand. I'm doing my best.
Right.
And it's those silent moments where I notice that she's just there coloring, and I'm just watching her face, and I'm like, wow, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I'm in awe. And Eric Godsey says, like, awe is one of the most incredible and archaic things that we can experience, because it's simultaneously rapture and fear.